Hello everyone, welcome to Art Time with Mr. Gabe. I hope that you're all doing well at home and you're adjusting to life as it is right now. Okay, so who remembers the last thing that we were doing in class? Drawing those little monsters and using a combination of markers and pencils and coloured pencils. So I'm going to be showing you today how to draw a monster using those same techniques and kind of making up your own monster, but it's a monster that is based on the illustrations from the book Where the Wild Things Are, which was written and illustrated by Maurice Sendak. There was also a movie that was based on the book, and maybe you've seen the movie as well as seen the book. It was a real favourite for me, the book, when I was a kid, and I love the pictures in it. I'm going to be showing you how to draw a monster that's inspired by the monsters from Where the Wild Things Are. You can try to copy what I do exactly, or you can adapt it, or you can change it with in many different ways. Okay, so let's get started. A piece of paper. If you don't have plain paper, you can still use lined paper from one of your notebooks. That's fine. You're also going to need a pencil. Coloured pencils would be good. Here's my set of coloured pencils. And finally, coloured markers too. Now these ones are markers with a very small tip, fine line markers, but you know, if you didn't have those and you had ones like this, then they have a fatter tip. That would still work okay. That's still fine. And you know, if the only thing you had was a pencil, that's still okay too. And I'll show you how you can adapt what I'm going to do with just a pencil. Choosing a colour scheme is a good idea. These colours are pinky, fleshy colours, going to brown. There's an orange also, and a blue. Blue is a contrasting colour with orange, so the two will go well together for that reason. You don't have to use these colours, you can use any colours you want. I'm just sharing with you my colour scheme for my monster. So we're ready to start. The first thing to do is sketch the rough shapes of the monster with a pencil, using the pencil as lightly as possible so that the marks don't show through when we add markers and colours on top. Also so that it's easier to erase things when we want to make changes. I'm going to start with this kind of oval shape. And going round and round is quite a nice idea, just so you can get, it doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be a perfect shape first time, you see. You just go round and round until you've got basically the one you want. The head on top is really connected to the body. There isn't really a neck with these monsters, so it overlaps that one. Then we've got these kind of sausage shaped arms, and this arm is going to be coming up into the air, and this arm is going to be coming back like this, with the hand sort of flicking up into the air behind. Just want to change that. There, see, because I've made that change, because I've been doing light pencil marks, it's easy to erase. The legs, one of them is going to be up in the air, and one of them is going to be going straight down to the floor. Right, my monster's going to have like talon bird feet. That's a good word for you. Talons. Like chickens have these kinds of feet, don't they? Birds of prey. Well, those are quite big. When they're flat on the floor, they look something like this, and this one is pointing right towards you. good. So we're going to have pointy toenails like that. Yeah, just 3 I think is good. The hands are going to be like almost like they're wearing like gloves, like mittens. Those kinds of gloves are called, aren't they, where all the fingers are joined together. And then this one, which is coming around the back, again, nice faint lines, make it easy to make corrections. Yeah, and this one, because the hand is turned the other way, the thumb is going to sort of poke out the side like that. Moving to the face, it's going to have a big nose, sort of like a dog nose, where the nostrils are really big, like that. So that's actually the shape of the nostrils there. And then the eyes are going to be squashed right down on top of the nose. That's a piece of the nose just there. And it's like a wrinkled nose. That's another piece of the nose. And then a third piece of the nose, like that. The eyes are going to be kind of squashed up against the nose, like that. Okay. You can have it with eyes wide open, or you can put eyelids in if you want to. And it's going to have a big smiling mouth with lots of teeth. Just like that. On top we could have horns, couldn't we? Or we could have floppy ears, or we could have sticky up ears. There's a number of different things we could do. Let's do sticking up ears like this. I think that looks good. So that's the side of the head there, and this is the other ear. This ear, because it's facing us, has the triangle inside it like that. Alright, that's looking pretty good now. So we're ready to move on to using markers. Good. When you're ready, take the eraser and carefully erase the pencil lines from underneath. See how I'm holding the paper as well, so I stop it from creasing. And because I've used faint pencil marks, I haven't pressed hard, so it's easy to erase these lines. There we go. Okay, so here are my markers that I showed you before, my color scheme that I selected, and here is where we're really going to take what we learnt in class and put it into this picture. When we were working with those little monstritos in class, it was what I showed you was how to use the markers first to make patterns, mark making patterns or textures, and then we put the pencils on top, the color pencils on top. So I'm going to show you some ideas for that now. Okay, so now we're going to continue with the orange, but change the mark making, and I'm going to use some squiggles instead. We're going to change the colours here as well, but they're going to be very different colours. I'm going to use the orange and blue next to each other. So it has a different kind of effect. He's going to have a stripy body. These squiggly lines look more like fur, like he's got a furry body, scaly legs. Now the head is going to be orange, but here I'm going to change the mark making and go from the squiggles just to little lines like this at the top of the head, all the way to the tips of the ears. Then I've got this kind of creamy yellow colour. That's a good one for the teeth. Those are just going to be straight lines going down the mouth. And maybe let's put a little bit in the eyes as well. The nose doesn't have a colour. What should we do about that? Should we have a blue nose? That could be quite funny. Let's do just some little lines like this, just carefully around some of these black lines. Maybe we'll do the same for the eyelids too. That adds something different, doesn't it? Oh yes, and the inside of the ear. Let's do the same thing there. I'm sorry everybody. The iPad stopped recording and I didn't realize, and I finished colouring the monster. So yeah, I can't go backwards now and show you what I did, but at least I can kind of explain. I changed the colour pencils on the legs. That was light violet first, and then I changed to the orange, and then the golden brown for the top part of the legs. When I got to the body, I tried something different, and I didn't change the colours, but kept the same colour, this blue, even though the colours of the markers changed. And I also used a complementary colour. So the blue and the orange are what's known as complementary colours. They stand out against each other, so one complementary always kind of pops out against the other. That's why the orange looks really cool with the blue behind it. Then I switched to yellow for the arms and the top of the head, and I kind of mixed up the colours on the head quite a lot, starting with blue and the yellow at the top, and then just a little bit of that light violet there on the tip of the nose. Sorry for the technical problems, everyone. Oh yes, I almost forgot. I was going to show you what to do if all you had was a pencil. Or maybe you only have coloured pencils. the same sort of basic idea can still be achieved, and I'm just going to show you how real quickly. Start again. Let's do the oval shape for the body, the circle for the head. Let's do the arms differently this time. This one's going to be up in the air still, but this one's going to be up in the air as well. And maybe the legs could both be bent, like this one is going to come down. It's going to have a different kind of foot this time, and this one is going to be almost like big boots. Yeah, let's just quickly put in some different features so you can see what that would look like. Going to have kind of more like evil eyes this time, and like a beak. Yeah, a little bit different. Let's put horns on it. A different kind of monster. Alright, now at this stage where before I swapped to the marker. Now what we do here is we just press more firmly with the pencil to bring out those lines. Now I'm just going to do part of the body. I'm not going to do the whole monster this time. So let's say we want a scaly body this time. Scales can be getting bigger as we go up the body. And then maybe getting smaller again. And he's going to have hairy legs. So you see, instead of using a marker and coloured pencils, we're just sticking with the pencil, but we're pressing really hard for this stage. Then instead of swapping to coloured pencils, you would use the pencil just for shading now, and just lightly shade over the top of what you've done. And here, of course, you mustn't press too hard, or you'll make what you've done disappear. There we go. Here, let's go. Changing direction's a good idea too. You see how these lines were going this way, and now the shading is going the other way. So that's a pretty good trick to make one thing stand out against the other. Here, because there's a kind of shadow under here, just going to really make those lines heavy. Please keep your monsters that you draw and bring them to school again when we get back, because I want to see them.